Come back. The Western Cape Education Department is criticized for not doing enough to place learners in schools timeously. Well, Premier Alan Winde recently announced a new education MEC. That's after Debbie Schaefer resigned. So what's the reaction to the change? eNCA's Ronald Masinda joins us now with more on this question. So some activists, Ronald, say that the province's education system is dealing with a lot of challenges. Just take me through some of those, what you've been picking up from some of the conversations you've been having.
Good afternoon, Tulas. Well, we spoke to several people on the ground who have been following the Western Cape education system for quite some time. One of the challenges is the issue of there seems to be a lack of interest in mathematics. Many pupils are seemingly not interested in pursuing maths in the long run. And this is an issue that the Western Cape Education Department says that it is a concern for them. They've recently launched a program to address this issue. The other issues on the ground in schools on the Cape Flats, there seems to be problems where there are fights and also allegations that there could be gangs within schools. This is another matter that some of the people that we spoke to say that it needs to be addressed. They also want an MEC who will be on the ground with them during the time when there are these events that take place at schools. They don't want an MEC that will be behind closed doors and not going and speaking to the people on the ground. The other issue, and this came from a person who is concerned with kids with disability at school, she feels that in many cases there are not enough skilled teachers at these schools. And also one of the issues is that there's only one curriculum for kids with disabilities. So she says this also needs to be addressed. But among the big issues are really at some schools overcrowding, especially in schools in rural areas of the Western Cape, and also student placement. I mean, we've seen each year a lot of people struggling to get their kids to school. And one of the issues there, Tulas, really is when we spoke to people, parents, they've said that they've applied, but for some reason they haven't been given a response by the schools that they applied to. And also in many cases, and this is an issue that Debbie Schaefer herself has raised, parents have a tendency of not applying on time. They leave it to the last minute, and then their children struggle to get into one of the 1,500 schools in the province. We heard from an activist by the name of Roscoe Jacobs, and these are his views.
I think it's about time that the MEC actually steps down because the MEC has failed young people, learners, parents and teachers within the Western Cape. The new appointment leaves us on the ground cautiously optimistic because the incoming MEC hasn't really shown us that he is about making a difference in the lives of people of color in the Western Cape.
So obviously, Ronald, the exit of Debbie Schaefer also provides an opportunity to reflect on her tenure as MEC. She says that her department has performed well.
Yes, indeed. She's had a career spanning 8 years as MEC, but also saying that, you know, she has to now sit down with David Mania, who is the Finance and Economic Opportunities MEC, just to let him know about some of the issues faced on the ground. But she also says that one of the biggest issues in schools is that there's a lack of funding, and also in a province like the Western Cape where the population increases every year because many people migrate to the province, there seems to be not enough schools to cater for children who will start off their schooling in the Western Cape. So she says these are some of the issues that need to be addressed, and also an issue where there also needs to be teachers also need to be employed at these schools so that they don't have a situation where schools or classes are overcrowded. She had this to say when I chatted to her. Of course, she will be leaving on the 15th of May. It will be her last day in office. She will be leaving for the UK, where she will be working there.
Problem is a complex one. It's not one specific issue. It's a culmination of a number of years of underfunding. There's a lot of funding that goes into education in the country, but it isn't always spent in the right places. And you know, I've been fighting for a long time for the equitable share to be more fairly done, to be respond more quickly to the people moving. You know, we've had a lot of people moving into the Western Cape, as has Gauteng, and there just hasn't been enough speed in responding to those issues.
That's the outgoing Education MEC in the Western Cape, Debbie Schaefer, ending that live reporting by my colleague Ronald Masinda there.